Hi everyone, my name is Sandy and I am a realtor here in Nanaimo. And when I'm not helping my clients buy and sell, I like to flip houses on the side. So the series of videos that I'm going to be creating is about how I flip houses here in Nanaimo. And I hope you find them entertaining and informative. So stay tuned. So I just purchased this house behind me for a flip. And in today's video, I want to share with you how I find the perfect house for a flip. So how do I find the right house for a flip? Well, I start by looking at the neighborhood. And I always start in an area that I'm familiar with. So we'll call this new house that I purchased Villinger House, named after the street that it's at. It's on the north end, and it's a neighborhood where I lived in for many years. It's very desirable for a flip, in my opinion, because it's close to shopping, restaurants, the highway. It's got great schools, great neighborhood, great park, not to mention it's close to a beach. And so for those of you who might be contemplating about flipping houses, my suggestion is start with an area that you're familiar with. Maybe it's an area that you currently live in, or a place that you grew up. And usually those are the best bets to start. So the neighborhood that I am targeting is a neighborhood that I'm familiar with. I used to live around this area. It's the north end of Nanaimo. All the subdivisions here tend to be a little bit newer. They were built in 1990s or later. Most homes here have somewhat of a view. It's beautifully landscaped and manicured. Most of the neighbors here take great pride in their property. And it's got some great beach access, parks, a very short drive to big box stores like Walmart, Costco. It's got lots of grocery stores. In addition, it's got Woodgrove Mall, which is the biggest mall here. And it's got plenty of restaurants nearby, easy access up and down the island to ferry terminals, and not very far to the airport as well. So in this neighborhood, it has a very strong market. Even though we are in August of 2022, and there's been a bit of correction since March, this neighborhood really has maintained a very strong resale value. And so I feel like doing a flip here, although there's still risk involved, the resale and unloading, we can still see a very favorable profit in this area. And so to understand what's happening in my market, I like to drive around, look at every listing, new and old. I like to analyze and see why something sold quickly, why something I think it's great stayed on the market, and talk to a lot of my colleagues of what's happening so that I can better predict a trend, and then to have a clearer picture of what's happening in the coming months when I plan to unload. So how did I decide on this property? There's actually a process I like to call working backwards. I like the neighborhood, and we had talked about that earlier. And there's a process of understanding the trend in this market and in this area. And how I decided on this particular house is it fit several criteria that I was looking for. So let me show you. This house was built in 1990, and although it was built decades ago, it had a very spacious layout. And one of the things that I look for when I flip houses is the floor plan. It has an open concept living and dining area, and it actually has a very spacious kitchen with a nook and family space. And I like the fact that I don't have to move plumbing and do much work with electrical. And the layout itself kind of is working in keeping with the modern lifestyle. Yeah, so going back one step on deciding this house, I like to work backwards. I like to look at houses with the most number of days on the MLS and then do a little bit of research to find out why. So this house actually has sat on the market for quite a while. It initially had an offer, but it fell through because of some remediation work that the sellers needed to do. And so when they came back on the market, it was a totally different marketplace, because we are filming this August of 2022 post-COVID, and our market here in Nanaimo had changed substantially. There's a bit of self-correction since March, and so it just sat on the market. The seller was a bit more flexible with price, and this is how we decided it's the perfect flip for us. Yeah, so the other thing that I really love about this house is that most of the work is cosmetic. It did need a kitchen renovation, and both bathrooms needed to be redone. But the demographic here, buyers that would consider this type of home, typically are more mature. And so they're not ready to tackle a big rental project. So this made it that much more viable to do this project. Yeah, so my plan for some of the design with this house is having shaker style cabinets, same flooring throughout, and because we are by the beach, the wall colors are going to be light and eerie, and it's going to feel very beachy and lively. So the last thing I want to talk about is the exit strategy. And everything I have done so far is keeping what kind of buyer is going to be interested in buying this house when it's done. And so as I plan, and all of the design that goes into the house has to be suited for a more mature buyer. So keeping all of these in mind will better help me unload the property quickly once it's renovated. And this concludes our first video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to put it in the comment section. I hope to make more of these type of videos where it's informative. I get to share a lot of my experiences, and also you can hopefully flip a house or two yourself in the future.